Welcome to another episode of Action Martial Arts Magazine TV. Today we are blessed with my friend Art Camacho, martial arts legend and director extraordinaire. Hi Art, welcome to the show.
I love it. I'm so honored to be here, Ross. Really appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much.
Well, I tell you, so KJ Kordick, you know KJ Kordick, she did an interview with you in Action Martial Arts Magazine a while back. But that interview went very well. It's had a lot of attention on the internet, so that's really awesome. I know that a lot of people really appreciate your work, a lot of the movies and things that you've done. You've worked with a lot of great actors and stunt people, and it's very exciting. I'd like to start off by asking you something I ask a lot of the martial arts, which is what first got you into the martial arts? What put you on that path?
It was a lot of things. It was number one. I just got to be forthcoming that I have the worst self-esteem of anybody. I'm so self-conscious about this. I hate my voice. I've done a lot of films. I hate seeing my work. But having said that, as a kid, we came from a broken home, and I was bullied a lot, very bullied. And then at one point, I got jumped by five, six guys, and they just beat me to a pulp. And and it happened around that same time that I discovered Bruce Lee. So between getting beat up, discovering Bruce Lee, it was like the perfect storm that came together, and that eventually got me into martial arts. And it wasn't for no good reason. No good reason meaning that everyone I talked to, well, it was for the sport. Their parents got him into it to train, lose weight. No, I just wanted to beat the shit out of people. I swear, that was my first thing. I just wanted to find those guys who do that to me and beat the crap out of them. And fast forward a few years, I trained in different systems in the beginning, hopped around, taekwondo, karate. Um, and in Mexico, I found this instructor who was teaching his form of kung fu, and so I kind of gravitated towards that. I come back to the States, and I discovered my Sifu, Eric Lee, in One Hop Kuen, and that became kind of my foundation. So I started training with him since about 1980. And as a matter of fact, I had lunch with him and Sifu Samuel Kwok today. And then through him, through his molding and through because he mentored me, started mentoring me not only in martial arts but just in life. That's the kind of person he is. And and through him, while I was still training one off Kundo, I was cross training in Jeet Kundo and Kali. I did some amateur boxing, and it really changed my whole life. And I mean that in a literal sense because not only did it change me here and here, but as a kid, I always wanted to do films, always wanted to do films, and that's what opened the door to movies.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I didn't get to see the commercial that said "Learn how to kick people's butts," but I'm sure that back then it was very popular.
You got to see it, man. It's the one with
Good.
sand in your face.
Yeah, the big guy kicking the sand. That's immediately what I thought of, right? That's
Yeah.
that's very cool. I'm always curious as to what gets people started on that. So when you were in the martial arts, your biggest influences were Samuel Kwok and Sifu Lee.
Well, Samuel Kwok came later but what definitely Wing Chun because through Bruce Lee and Sifu Eric Lee and Danny Santo. I trained at the Akali Academy for a while, and those kind of iconic figures I was always gravitated towards, and they were just again to me the martial arts isn't kicking and punching or getting black belts and all that. It was more about I guess developing myself as a person, feeling more confident. Because, like I told you when I started this, about my self-esteem, and still to this day, believe it or not, number one, I to throw a plug to you, I really admire how comfortable you are right now in front of the camera talking. I'm being honest with
Right.
you because I don't know if you know this, but I'm jumping around. But I had a talk show on El Rey Network, and that was the hardest thing I've ever done, sitting there and interviewing people. Anyway, well, that's another story. But going back to the martial arts, it really changed my whole outlook on life. It changed my life. I'd be honest with you, I would not be sitting here. I would not be sitting here with 30 years of films behind me, martial arts, accolades, whatever, had it not been for those experiences. So in essence, and I keep saying this, and I've said it several times, that even to this day, as we sit here right now, I would love to go back and find the guys who beat the shit out of me. For one, what reason? No, well, two reasons. One, to thank them because that experience really pushed me into the martial arts. And the second reason, to beat the shit out of them because I know I can do it.
That's very funny. KJ has often said to me that the way I feel when we're doing the shows, being on camera, doing interviews, I seem to be very comfortable.
Yes.
But fact is that working with people like yourself, Michael Di Pasquale, and the people that I got to work with taught me how to be comfortable doing public speaking and being able to talk and go along with the conversation.
Wow, that's great. But I tell
Yeah.
you, even to this day, I'm tell you, brother, it takes me a lot. I have to work myself up mentally and I get butterflies in my stomach before I do your interview, any interview, go whatever. I'm telling you, man, you never, I don't know that people do, but I've never overcome that 100%. That lack of whatever, the self-esteem kind of thing. So I have to always be on. I have to really push hard and work hard every day, you know?
That's got to be pretty tough. But it's good that you can be compassionate to people who work with you on the set that may also face those kinds of challenges.
Because I know the feeling. I know the feeling. And even in the martial arts, I got to tell you, I was always the least talented student in my class. I was so bad. I was so uncoordinated, and I tell you, I would go to class, and let's say I usually train for like a week, and you're way behind. So I would ditch class the next week so I could catch up. But by the time you're there, you're already behind more lessons. You know what I'm saying? So you're always behind. You're always operating from behind. So that's always been my thing in my life is that I always anything I undertake, I'm always taken as the underdog. I'm the guy that, and I have a saying where, and this has been my life, is that I'm never the first choice, but I'm always the best choice for the job.
There you go. There
And
you go.
that's been my motto in my life, you know?
But that
Nice.
I think that insecurity stems from childhood because I find that most people, I mean, my insecurities stem from child. It's weird what childhood could just wreak havoc on you as an adult. You know what I mean? Like if you're overweight, you always, no matter how good looking you get, you always feel like that overweight child. Or it's just. I don't, I mean, my grandma once told me my sister's hair was so more beautiful than mine. And for
Mm.
years and years, I was like, what's wrong with my hair? You know what I mean? But I'm all screwed up because of it still as an adult. I mean, just little words. And it's just so, it's kind of funny actually how, not funny, but ironic how words to a child. And that's why I always try to make sure my words to a child is always positive because people don't understand that one time you're irritated or go away, can 20 years later, they could be like, you messed me up. It's like,
Yeah, but you know what? There is no guide to parenting. We make mistakes. I've made so many mistakes in my lifetime. But you're 100% correct. You're 100% correct. I've been on the covers of magazines around the world shirtless, and I still feel fat. I mean, I feel, oh my God, that's why I got into jackets because I feel,
I'm picking up all these great tips from you. I got to get a jacket.
You're good. You got that six pack going, Ross.
Yeah, no, I got a cake going, but I'm working on it. It's just
I
working
mean,
on
you're a rich man. You're a rich man, brother.
it. Well, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. So, if there was a lesson that you've learned from the martial arts that helps you with your career as a director or a choreographer, what would you think that might be?
Persevere.
Perseverance.
Persevere. The biggest thing is to persevere. I've been in really dire situations in life, in martial arts training, in movies, and I fall down. You know what? Even let's take it even beyond persevere is always get back up. Always
Yeah.
back up. That's it. That's been my life. I've fallen down so many times, failed at everything, even in relationships. In relationships, I'm telling you, I'll tell you a funny story. I mean, down the line. Um, but yeah, but
didn't you get jumped by a gang or something too? Or when you
and
were
that's
real young?
yeah. So between getting jumped by gangs, being called fat, and then the first two girls, I'll tell you a quick story. The first girl that I ever, as a teen, I don't know, 14, 15, and I'm so in love. Oh my God, this girl to me was, I was already, picking out the house we're gonna live in, I was so enamored with her. And my buddies, bastards that they are. No, she likes you. Go for it. Go ask her. Go ask her out. Nah, she doesn't like me. Yeah, go for it. So I gathered up the courage, and they knew, bastards. So I gathered up the courage to ask her out one night, right? This is in Mexico, the first girl ever that I'm in love with. And we're sitting at her house on a brick fence. It's night, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell to say. How do you ask a girl? And so I remember I'm looking up and nice moon, huh? You're kind of nervous. And then right when I was going to ask her, to be my girlfriend, I said, hey, would you like to? I couldn't even get the sentence out before she said, no, no way. What are you, nuts? It's like, oh my God. In that moment, I got to tell you, Ross, I wasn't crushed as much as I was relieved that I had the guts to actually get to that point. It's like afterwards, I was crushed. Afterwards. But that day, it's like, I did it. I had the courage to actually ask a girl out. Second girl, same thing in Mexico. This one, at least I got farther. She did say yes. She wanted to be with me, but we lasted one date. Then she dumped me. So it's like, oh, but at least I got farther along. Remember, get back up. The first one didn't even give me the time of day. Second one at least gave me one day, and but that's been my life. But I could laugh about it, and I do, and I tell that story because I'm actually proud of that because all that has led me to where I am. All that, all the negative, all that crap, because I have friends of mine that I grew up with who were like Mr. Rico Suave, good looking, young, charismatic. They get every girl, they get every opportunity. 30 years down the line, they're working at McDonald's. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but to make your end up working a minimum wage job.
And they're still living on that looks or
Yeah.
or they're all, I can get this girl and that, I actually think it takes more of a man to have one woman than many. To keep one woman is hard. When you have many, it's because you can't keep one. It's like.
Yeah. But even worse than that, I mean, I was always the fat kid. They were the lean kids, good looking. And then again, I kid this really good friend of mine. I love him to death, but I always call him Uncle, even though he's younger than I am. But he was the one that was just the fittest, the good looking, handsome. I was always jealous of him. And then you see him now, it's like he's all white and he got the big gut on him and he's settled. And it's like, hey, Uncle, come over here. Hey,
I just can't picture you fat. I mean, I just can't picture you being a fat kid. You're gonna have to show us a picture because I know I don't think I've ever seen. Not to traumatize you, but I just honestly, I bet you were. I bet you were a lot cuter and more than you gave yourself credit for.
Yeah, but he's talking about the inner demons you deal with. Even you could be good looking and you don't necessarily fat, but this is how you see yourself on the inside.
And you know what's also interesting, and I wrote that book a few years ago. I'm actually coming out with another version of it, volume 2. But one thing that hit me, because I used to make a lot of appearances, whether it's churches or martial arts events, and a lot of people would see that I'm doing films and all this stuff and doing all the stuff that I'm doing. And so everybody, just like me, growing up, and again, this goes back to martial arts, what we started with, is that I used to look at all these black belt masters and see them breaking bricks and doing these wonderful techniques and thinking, oh my God, that's outworldly. It's like, wow, I can never, ever aspire to that. Same thing with films. And once I started getting into it, I just recently wrapped up a film with Tyrese, who's one of the stars of Fast and Furious, Harvey Keitel. It was a multi-million-dollar film. I just had the #1 film on Hulu in April, but people look at people in films and they think, wow, they got it made, they got all the breaks, they got this, they got that. And I would talk to people and tell them, no, you're more talented than I will ever be, #1. That's the truth. And the only thing that I have above you is that I keep getting back up.
I love seeing you succeed because then I get to sit with my friends and go, you see that guy? He's my friend.
Well, talk about your films. Since you brought that up, like tell us, update the fans on what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, let's start at the beginning. I started out as, in films. I always wanted to do films, and I didn't know how to get in. But my father knew a person who had a commercial agency in Hollywood, and he said, "Go ask him. Go talk to the guy. Maybe he can give you a job. A job doing what? I'm not. I don't know what to do. You know." So I went over there. He didn't have a job, but I said, "I'll volunteer. I'll intern for free." And I said, "Okay, you want to come in for free? Come in here. Here's a broom, and here's a
Oh
so,
man.
and that's what I started doing. And I was just sweeping. It's like, wow, this is cool. This is Hollywood, man. I love it. I'm here. I made it. Good. But then I went from there to doing Spanish commercials. And again, I failed at everything. So I kept screwing up. First, they were, doing little bit acting, then writing, then producing. And within a year's time, I was directing and producing Spanish commercials. And I could have stayed in that arena, but film was always in my heart. And I got a call out of the blue, my chief Eric Lee, because I had been training with him by this point. Hey, Art, do you want to get your butt kicked for $50? Shoot, yeah, I'm there. And that's what did it. Because I had already acted in a couple of films, but still forgettable films and forgettable performances. But this thought then entered my head. I'm thinking, wow, that's cool. Go get my butt kicked for $50. I do it for free. $50, come on, that's a gold mine. And that's what started. I started doing that, but I was really good because as a kid, I was always adept at doing that. That was always in my head and in my heart. And so that job led to several jobs because I was very good, and then got my Screen Actors Guild card. And then after about a year of doing all these films, the producers saw something in me, and they started asking me if I wanted to be a fight choreographer. And at that time, I didn't know what the hell. I don't know how to choreograph fights. I always have somebody else. I just throw a punch and a kick, and so I did that. And then again, 20 films later, two producers asked me one year if I wanted to direct movies. And I thought, okay, you know, I'll try it.
It's interesting though. There's a lot more that goes into fight choreography than people realize.
Absolutely.
You of anybody showed me that making it look real so it doesn't look silly and dopey, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of practice, it takes
Right.
a real understanding of the angles and the direction of the cameras and everything going on. And when people do a bad job of it, oh my God, it's like really bad. But then when someone like yourself understands the sweet science of doing it, oh, and then that's what makes it really good. That's what makes the magic.
But you know what? And that's the thing. As a martial artist, you have to, and that's one thing that I really love and admire about you is apart from everything else that I love about you, Ross, is that you have no ego attached to what you do. You have passion and heart. And a lot of people in the beginning, especially not necessarily now, but when I was first starting out, I'd run into all these people who are, I'm the best kicker. Look at my kicks and look at my punches. Look at this, and that doesn't mean shit to me. What means a lot to me is again, and I'm ripping off and quoting Bruce Lee. You have to also put emotional content, emotional connection in the moves. You have to, even though, like you said, it's a sweet science. I say you just have to commit yourself emotionally and again, I'm going to teach the audience a quick lesson in film fighting. There's two types of awareness in films. One is what the actor knows. The actor, the stunt guy knows. He knows the choreography. He knows the punches. He knows where he's going to fall. And then there's the actor awareness. I'm talking about the character awareness here and the actor awareness here. The actor knows everything. The character doesn't. Once the director yells action, my character, let's say for instance you and I are doing a fight, I'm gonna throw you a punch. I am the best puncher in the universe. I punch harder than Don Wilson Benny combined in my head. So I believe that when I'm throwing that punch, I'm fully committed emotionally, physiologically, and I'm just gonna throw that punch. And so when I throw that punch, and in the choreography, you're gonna block it, right? Just before you get hit. When you block it, it's not only a physiological response, it's an emotional response because all of a sudden, like shit, that was my best punch. Oh shit, I better adjust. So you see what I'm saying? So that's what happens in the whole process of this. So now now you're getting to the reality. That's why you have to believe it, but don't get lost in it. Lost in it, that's where the accidents happen. You can get lost in it and really try to punch him because, and it happened to me on several films already, where I literally had to block for real because punches were coming at me and I felt them so close. So I really had to really adjust and block those punches, you know? And that's what I'm saying. There is an art form to beautiful screen fighting, and you see it in the, you know, like John Wick's and some of those other films. It's just amazing. It's amazing. The least important thing is the punches and the kicks. It's the reactions, like you were doing right now. It's the reaction, how you take that punch. Again, look at Enter the Dragon on that scene at the very end when he's just throwing all these punches and kicks, and these guys are taking it and taking it. It's like, dang. Bruce looks like, you know, obviously Bruce is Bruce, but if he didn't have good stunt guys, he wouldn't look as hot, you know, looking.
Right, right. You used to say that all the time, that no matter how good the actor is or how bad the actor is, it's the stunt person that makes them look so good.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I
And
remember when you and I worked on that trailer with Michael DePasquale. What a great story that is, right?
oh
We
my God, yeah.
and I'm gonna keep my words on this short, but that art was amazing. He's doing this whole thing. We've got a lineup of I think it was 18 guys are in this fight scene, and this woman is fighting us. And I'm the first one in the beginning. As a matter of fact, I wasn't even supposed to even be in that scene, but the guy, Art, wanted somebody to do a break fall, an air roll into this thing. And he kept asking everybody to try to do it, and they couldn't get it right. Now, of course, Michael DePasquale taught me how to do air rolls, break falls. So he goes, Ross, come up here. And I get up there and he goes, watch, Ross. He takes his finger and he goes like this, like he threw me with his finger. And I go, boom, and I fall in. He goes, you see? That's what you're supposed to do. He goes, you know what? Forget this. Ross will just do the part. I'm like, what? Like this, you know? So we go and do this scene. And this was hilarious. We did 26 takes because this girl just couldn't do what we were asking her to do, to grab me, lock me, and throw me. So Art just comes over and he goes, you're just going to have to throw yourself, make it look like she did it. And I went, okay, Art. So we do 26 takes. On the 26th take, I hit the floor, boom, and I'm not wearing a gator back. We're on concrete. I'm wearing shorts and a tank top. I hit the third. I'm on the floor. Art goes, all right, I'm not getting exactly what I wanted this, that. He goes, Ross, how you doing? And I literally look him in the face and I go, do you want me to give you the answer you want to hear or the one I want to say? He goes, I want the one I want to hear. I said, I'm great. He goes, good, back to one. Let's start again. It was hilarious. I was like, oh my God.
You remember that. You remember that.
That was an unbelievable experience. But I learned a lot.
See, because the reality, and here's what happened to me is again, this is no shame on my C4 or anybody around me, but they were nice guys. They were nice to me, and on some of my first films, I look back and they were pretty. I was pretty shitty because I didn't have an Art Camacho telling me what the fuck is that? Do it right. They were shitty and nobody told me, well, look at this. As a matter of fact, there's a film where I did take off my shirt in the beginning, and I wasn't super heavy, but I wasn't cut. And I see it, and all I see is the flab around my gut, and I'm thinking, oh my God, why didn't nobody tell me? Why didn't nobody tell me? Cut back on the tortillas, or cut back on the tacos. But nobody told me. I'll tell you.
And now what they do is they spray it on.
I know now I got the stencil just in case. But I'll tell you, I've told people, and here's what happens a lot. And again, I'm sharing this because it's a lesson, is that there's people that want to be stars in these films, and they think because they can. Again, I got a good kick, I got a good punch, or jujitsu, whatever you will call it, and I tell them, you know what? All that means shit. All that means shit. Look at Keanu Reeves. He's not a master of anything, but he sells it great. But he looks good doing it. So
We actually just did an interview with Benny the Jet. He's one of our very first interviews on this channel. And he is doing a movie called The Jet. It's his life story. And the man who gets to play the Jet is Keanu Reeves.
Wow, that's amazing.
We're hoping to get him on the show to interview him. It'd be great.
I'm telling you, he's amazing. But the point being that if you again, to me, the pinnacle of all screen action is Bruce Lee. To me, that's the pinnacle. That's it. That's Elvis Presley. That's Bruce Lee, Michael Jackson. That's it. And what does Bruce Lee have? Look at how number one, he has so much stuff that you can't even bottle, but he looks amazing physically. So if and I tell everybody the same thing when I do seminars, I tell them, look, I mean, you're going to get more work, do being great at what you do. But if you want to be a star, everybody says, yeah, I want to be a star. Okay, get rid of that gut. Get on a diet. Throw this better. Do this because the reality is you're going to be on cellular. You're going to be on film. You're going to be on what now is digital, but you got to look good. You got to look good, and that's why I told you. That's what I mean. At one point, when I was being frequently in front of cameras, even whether doing stunts or whatever, I got down to like 145, 28-inch waist, 42-inch chest. Right now I'm probably about 29, 30-inch waist, but I got down because I said I'm not going to be that fat guy who's like, oh, put the shirt back on, come on, you know. And but no, I just no nothing against people who are obese. No, nothing against that. But I'm saying is that if you want to be a star in films, you want to be Bruce Lee, do what Bruce Lee did. Look at
Well,
Schwarzenegger.
even
Look,
the actors that start out a little heavy, they always end up looking way, you could tell the studio puts them on a gym plan, it's like,
Well, yeah. Look at some of these guys in the Marvel films. I mean, they get trainers. They go on these programs that
abs-
make them look all ripped up and stuff. And you have to if you're going to even play the part and look the part, you're going to have to be the part. You got to do it.
well, that's
I
what
mean,
they're paid. They're paid to look good, and.
Bruce Lee started it back in the day, and then from there, then it was obviously Stallone, then Schwarzenegger, and then Van Damme, and and so on and so forth. But you're right. I'm telling you, it's a fantasy we're selling to people. We're selling them the fantasy. They have to believe that look at Wolverine, look at Hugh Jackman. I mean, you see the interviews, how I mean they can't wait till they finish the film so they can start eating again. I mean, but during the film they just shredded, you
Did you
know?
see him in the most recent film he just did?
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
Oh
It's
my
amazing.
God, the abs on that guy! I'm like, are you serious? And he's not young anymore. You know what I mean?
No. And that's temporary, but what he does is year round he keeps himself trim. But that's temporary to be in that's bodybuilding shape. And that's,
Yeah.
to be honest with you, I think that was part of the whole thing with Bruce Lee. Part of his reason for what happened to him and his dying is that you cannot maintain that kind of conditioning year round.
He pushed himself very, very, very hard.
He was dehydrated, overheat, he had a heat stroke and so many things because I'm telling you, man, if you see him in Enter the Dragon, I mean, just like paper thin skin over his muscles. But again, look at what he did. He sacrificed everything for that career, that movie. And the funny thing was, and I'm sharing this because whether it's him or other people, if you look at his chief aim and goal in life, it wasn't to be the best martial artist. It wasn't to be the best philosopher. It was to have 10 million bucks in the bank. That was his number one goal. Everything he did towards that goal. So, I mean, and that doesn't take anything away from him. He did phenomenal things. But my point with that is that I really am a strong believer in setting your goal, whatever your goal is, whether it's 10 million, whether it's whatever you want to do. But you have to set a goal and you have to work at it. And it's not going to be given to you. Nothing to me, I've had to fight for everything. Like I told you, I said people asked me if I wanted to direct, but years went into that to get in that position where they asked me that. That's the backstory behind that. It's like, oh, that's easy. Just be there and they'll ask you to do this. No. I proved myself over 40 films working. I mean, because I've worked on close to 200 films already in various capacities. But and every time to me, it's the Olympics. Every time I go out there to do a film, I'm telling you, Ross, I've been doing this for over 30 years, and still I get butterflies in my stomach. I pray to God, and I'm like, oh, don't let this be the one. Don't let me fail. You know?
I remember that you said that if you really wanted to get into films, not just me, but like when you were talking to everybody,
Mhm.
that if you want to get into films, you're not going to get there by being at home and just watching movies. You're not going to get into films by just going to the movie theater. You're not going to be there just doing this. You have to actually show up and audition and audition and keep going and just keep showing up. And if it means you have to travel, you're going to have to travel, but you got to keep going because you're not going to get the opportunities unless you put yourself in front of these people. So there it is.
And that's the truth. That is the truth. And that's been my life. I mean, I sacrificed so much in my personal life, my relationships, with my family, with my, wife and kids and stuff for film. I mean, I missed so many opportunities and there was so much, I did. I literally, sadly, I sacrificed my personal life for this thing. But the reason I did that is because I'm not trying to be preachy, but whatever you believe in, whatever your faith is in, whether you believe there's a God or not God, I don't care. But whatever's in you that drives you as a person, as a human being, that's what was driving me towards what I'm doing. And as much as I loved these people, this family and all that stuff, this is what made me whole enough to be good for them. If it makes any sense. I had to do this so that I can be a father, because I can be a husband, because I can be whatever. But sadly, this kind of something has to give, and this gave up. But
Right.
but that's life. I mean, those are the choices I made, and I live with them. And again, like AJ was saying, is that it stems from childhood. Because when I was very young as well, I remember I was big screw up in school. I straight C's, F's, you name it. And my parents sent me to Northern California to live with an uncle who was jewelry. That's how I learned at 16. I was a jeweler. At 16, I learned how to set diamonds and stones, and I studied diamonds. And it wasn't what I wanted. And I told my uncle that. I said, "Hey, you know what? There's something driving in me, Uncle. I want," because he was like my surrogate father. And I told him I think I want to be in movies. And he sat me down and he says, son, I love you very much. I'm paraphrasing him now. But you're butt ugly. You have no talent. You have no charisma. Get a real job. I don't want to see you suffer in life.
Oh my God.
Oh,
He's
Oh
like,
my God.
whoa.
Thanks, Dad.
But he meant it again, that he came from that old school of, it's like, Ross, you're an ugly fucker, Excuse my language.
sometimes
Ross.
that drives you too, just hearing that,
Yeah,
you're
but it
not
broke.
good enough makes you like, you know what, I'm gonna show you I'm good enough.
What?
Art used to have a nickname for me. It was Ross is the greatest known nobody that everybody knows or something like that. What was that? Because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really funny.
I forgot, but I know what you're talking about.
Because he goes,
Um,
it seems like everybody knows you, but you know, I'm like, I don't know what.
if you screw up, what's the big deal? But you're right. I mean, it drives you, but initially, to me, it just crushed my dreams. It crushed my dreams, and I thought he's right. He loves me. He wouldn't be telling me this if he didn't love me.
Well,
And
good thing you didn't listen.
well, I did for a while. I did for a while, and then one day I was working at a fast food restaurant. I mean, like at Orange Julius at the time. I was managing. I was 17. It was when I got the job. And immediately, I mean, within 3 months, I was manager. First, I got a part-time job, became manager at Orange Julius. At 21, 4 years into the job, I had mastered the job so well that I had all my employees doing my work. So what my daily routine was to get my comic books, take them to work, give the keys to the employees, have them sweep, mop, open the register, open the store, and I'd go in the toilet and just go sit down, taking a dump, reading my comic books. That was my daily routine. And one day I had an epiphany. One day I thought, oh my God, I'm washed up at 21. I'm not going anywhere. My life in the last years have been reading comics on the toilet. And that's the story of Art Camacho. That's it. And that's as far as I'm going to go. And I swear to you, I had a panic attack and I quit within a week. And I saved whatever money I did. I went to New York trying to get acting jobs in theater. Of course I couldn't. I wasn't a great actor. So I lost everything, came back here, living on couches, going to the point where you're digging for nickels and dimes in the couches so you can buy top ramen soups, which are like 10 for $1. So for a while there, I was dirt broke. And then I kept getting part-time jobs, and then again training in martial arts, and then again that's when the doors opened to me. Once I hit rock bottom in terms of finances and mentally and everything, and then the door started opening for films. But that's what got me really from 16 to 21. It was that 5 year period where when that uncle told me to basically give up on my dreams. And so from then on in, I said, screw it. No matter what, I'm going to pursue my dreams, whether I train harder as a martial artist, learn the craft of directing, acting, whatever it is, master the craft, and just keep getting back up.
So let's fast forward to your filming career. What was your first experience like directing a martial arts scene? And what were any like challenges that stood out to you?
I think the first film I did was called The Power Within. And in that film, they wrote specifically for me. It was like a family film, but it was martial arts, basically martial arts kind of film. And you know what? It's so funny. Then it was a situation where I the first shot of the first movie that I directed, it was the most nerve-wracking thing. I didn't know what I was going to do. Even though I had it all planned, I had a camera work, everything, and basically it was a simple shot. There's a stairway up here in Griffith Park. There's a long stairway, spiral stairway, and our actors walking up the stairs. Every now and then there were doors that pop out, so people would be popping out, sort of like that little shock value thing. So very simple shot. Two people pop out. He walks up the stairs. It took me almost 2 hours to get that simple shot, just the camera, and I was sweating it. I couldn't get it. I couldn't get the timing, and I thought, I'm done. My first and last job, I'm done. And but immediately afterwards, once we got that first shot in the can, everything changed. Then it sort of like clicked, and then it was like so fluid. It was like if you perform a great kata, whatever it is, and it was just so fluid. And I came into my own. And then every day, I felt more at home on a film set than I did at my own home. So every time I go on a film set, it's like, hey, this is my house. I'll go take a dump over there, go get my coffee, and it's a weird feeling because that's the way it is. Just like I'm sure in your dojo's your home. Excuse me, and that's what happened
Bless
on
you.
that. And it wasn't challenging because I had over prepared. Because I told you I hate failing and I've failed all my life, but I over prepared. So I mean, I prepared more for that film than I have for any other film since. I really, really prepared angles, cameras. I mean, we did a gag where I didn't know they weren't going to give me a stuntman, but our star, he does gymnastics, so I had him do a flip over three guys. And so what I did, he starts off the thing, we see him come, we see him land, and then for the actual gag, I came up with an idea. I said, you know what, let's do this. So I had all three guys get on their knees and I had trampoline on one side and a mat on the other side, and so he did. So then you see him in one shot, you see him go over them, and they're like looking up, and you look at the wide shot, you think you create the illusion that he jumped over those 6 foot guys. It's like so God was giving me all these visions on how to overcome all these obstacles. And it was to me, it was almost like a spiritual experience, and I felt I was at home. And after
There's a lot of interesting tricks that they use in doing these things, like you're saying, angles,
yes.
creating illusions. I remember there was one, I think, I'm not sure if it was Billy Blanks or somebody, and they did one where they want them to do the thing where, he's doing the bicycle, bah, 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 with their feet. And so they put the pants on the arms and put the shoes on the hands and then
Yeah.
doing the whole thing. It's stuff like that, that the creativity of a director, somebody
Right.
like yourself who's experienced in the martial arts, brings that together, and that's what makes that beautiful, magical moment.
Yeah, it really does. And then from there, just working with really wonderful actors. I mean, I told you, um, well, that film from the business perspective, and here's a business because again, it is a business. So I make people money. That's the bottom line. I've lost some money on some projects, but generally, it's been a good thing. So that first film, they gave me $700,000 to do it. We came in $50,000 under budget, and it grossed over 2 million at the time. That film grossed over 2 million. So
I can
then
remember that.
that's why I had a career. Not
Yeah,
because I mean they could have loved the film, but if it didn't do numbers, out. Next.
that's
Yeah.
it. That's it. But
Exactly how it is.
that forged a path for you. That's really
It
incredible.
really did. It gave me, because I approached it the same way I approached martial arts, the same way I approached stunts. What I did was Michael DiPasquale's camp. And one thing, and I'm sure you are 100% aware of that, is that I treated it like I was doing a studio film. I was so intense. I wasn't being, hey, okay, that's nice, Rossi. It's okay, Rossi. It's okay. No, it's what the hell? Do it again. Do it again. Give me here. I really, and that's what I tell people because I used to go to the camps and I love everyone there, but some of the teachers would teach it. They were nice guys and they were great guys, but they were nice, and I wasn't a nice guy. I was like nice up to the point where we're going to do it. If we're going to do it, let's do it. You
You
know.
prepared them for the reality of being on a set, on a
Yeah.
movie set,
Yeah.
and that was one of the main things I noticed about you is that whenever I worked with you, I had I really enjoyed the fact that I got to act or doing stunts with you. I love the fact that I got to assistant direct with you. I got
Yes.
to do a bunch of great things with you. And again, it affected my life because I was like, oh my God, and I learned so much. And you took the time to explain it to me. I felt very, very tutored in those things, which is really cool. And one of the things that I respected is that you treated every scene as if you were on a movie set. You had to be on time on the set. You can't just be walking on the set. Everybody was treated as if you were on a live movie set, and that was what made the experience worth it.
And but but that's the reality. That's the reality that I live in. I feel that I wouldn't be true to you, true to myself, if I didn't treat it like that. As a matter of fact, again, if you were out here, well, actually, you might. I'll surprise you off when we get off tape. I got some news that we're trying to develop that you'll be a part of. But no, everything to me is do or die. There's no in betweens. That's the good and bad. That's how obsessive I become or I am, because we're either going to give 100% or don't give shit at all. Don't give me no half measures, and that makes people hate me and makes others love me. An example of that is I did a film in Philadelphia. I lasted a week before I got fired as a direct fired, quit, more fired than quit. But I worked there. The crew was probably the very good people, but they were very inexperienced. So I was treating them like I treat, they're getting good pay. So I said, okay, let's just go ahead and if you're going to do the work, I'm going to treat you like, we're on a studio. And every day they were complaining. Some of the actors complaining to the producer in tears almost. Art's been mean to me. He's this, he's that, and I kid you not, it was stressful. And right when I was making a breakthrough after the end of the first week, then the producer called me on the day off. Says, Art, you can't, we're gonna have to part ways because the crew is complaining, the actors are complaining that you're too hard on them. It's like, my God, my God. Well, you hired me because every day the producer was asking me, "Art, let's cut down costs. We got to speed this up." So I was trying to cut down costs. I was trying to, help him out. But literally within 2 weeks after that, I had already scheduled a film to do in Russia. Because I don't know if you knew this, I directed a film in Russia. It was a Russian language film for the Russian market that they want to do for international as well. And I go there, and their meekest, prettiest, smallest little girl was tougher than any of the guys that I'd worked with in Philadelphia. I mean, they see me get mad and intense, and they thought it was funny. I said, "Okay, here's our Camacho." Okay, but they were doing the work. And I told them, "You don't take offense." They go, "Come on, get out of here." We're learning, and we're excited to work with you. So it showed me the difference between this group in Pennsylvania, whatever, Philadelphia, and then the Russian crew that was so salt of the earth people, strong, and everyone from I told you from the smallest, the littlest girl, the interpreters, and the big guy crew, and give you an idea, the level of respect and love that I walked away with the Russian people was that the first day there, you got all these Russians, like 20, they had already choreographed the fight scene. And so I see this fight, and then I asked the guy, and the big guy I'm talking about, I'm literally, I come up to there right here. I'm looking at all these guys up here, and the stunt coordinator, the main stunt coordinator has like an eye patch on, and he's got scars, and he's ugly and mean looking and big, and so I asked him, hey, can we change that punch into elbow? No. Okay. So I sit back, and then I go to second time. Can we change this into a knee? He goes, nope. Okay. So then I said, you know what? I'm wasting my time here. So I called the producer. I said, in a nice way, I said, you want me to direct, right? Great. Yeah, I'm going to direct your film, whatever you want, but let me know how much input you want on the action. That's my forte. He goes, "You're Art Camacho. You should be in every part of the action." I said, "That's all I needed to know." Click. Okay, fellas, here's what we're gonna do. You are gonna turn that into an elbow, and that's gonna be a knee. And I raised my voice and I stood up. I'm like this. And in my heart, I'm thinking I'm gonna get killed. I'm dead in Russia. But here I am. I'm a little like a little chihuahua, man.
Didn't it?
And once I
Take it.
saw that, I saw that I stood my ground. I just wanted to make sure the producer was okay with it because he's the boss. But once I saw that this was my forte, I mean we were like brothers, blood brothers. After that, the level of respect grew immensely because I wasn't backing down and they were showing me the respect. And then from then on, okay, Mr. Camacho, what would you like us to do? You know, and I love the Russian people, the Russian crews. I mean, I swear to God, the experience, Ross, I did not want to come back. It was so
Wow.
wonderful, so wonderful. It just, I didn't know what to expect, but that's coming after I had shot that thing that week in Philadelphia. I'm thinking I'm already like, oh my God, I can't believe what had just happened in my career. I've never had a situation like that where everybody's just, complaining and crying and whining, you know, because again, all I was doing is like, Ross, you know, let's say if you're coming in for again $50 a day, still, even if you came in $50 a day, I still push you hard. But if you're getting paid $1,000 a day, $1,500 a day, I want you to do that level of work. I expect that level of work, and that's what the way I treated the crew because they were getting paid good paychecks. I knew what they were getting, so I expected. I said, well, so as I was saying is that no matter what you do, no matter what you do in life, my philosophy on it, the minute you take a job, good, bad, or indifferent, you are there to give 100%, 1,000% of yourself. Whether you're getting paid nothing, whether you're getting paid $50, or you're getting paid $1,000 or $100,000. To me, that's my approach to life. And anything I do, even in the training during COVID, it really hit me hard because all the gyms closed down and I went through a really, really hard 3 weeks. I went through so much anxiety because I could work out at home, but it wasn't the same. So I wasn't feeling my body. And I would try to buy weights, and they were like, stuff that you normally buy for $20, they're $300, $300 a pound, like something ridiculous. And so when I came back after the restrictions ended, I started working out too fast, too heavy. And I really got some major injuries in my shoulder and stuff. But I couldn't stop. I can't stop training. As much as I'm injured, I can't stop training. I ripped my bicep. I kept pushing. It's stupid. I don't recommend that for anybody, but that's in my psyche. I got to give 100%. Just like right now, I'm telling you, before any interview, I go in, I have to train, I have to ground myself mentally before we talk.
I remember, and you're going to be shocked. I remember this because whenever you spoke, I listened. I remember, in reference to what you just said, that you told me that no matter about the $50 guy, 50 an hour guy versus $1,500, but you said if somebody was coming in and they were being paid little or nothing, and they worked hard as if they were the guy who was being paid big bucks, you never forgot them. And when an opportunity came up that you could use them, you called on the one who was willing to work hard regardless. That's what you said.
And that's the truth. And I've done that so many times, I'd rather go with heart and zero talent than talent and no heart. I'll create the talent, I'll create the skill, I'll get you, Ross, and make you look phenomenal because you already obviously have a foundation, but regardless, because you have such a good heart, I will give my all to make you great on film. And that's the truth. Because I hate it. I came up in this business, even when I was first starting out, I was the low man on the totem pole. I still am to a certain degree, but worse than. And all these top martial artists will walk around with the big chips on their shoulders and treat me like crap. Treat me like crap. You're a glorified expert, Camacho. And the Mexican ego in me hated it. But on the outward, he's right. They're right. I got to eat shit. I got to eat it, eat it, eat it until I don't. And that's my philosophy. Until I don't. And that's the way I am. I mean, heart means so much to me. You cannot, you cannot. And I've been in situations where, for instance, I did a film called Recoil. And to show you my characters, that one of the big assistant director is the guy who runs the whole set. So we're doing big action scenes. I'm talking about action. I'm blowing up cars. I'm having a shootout inside a bank, shootout outside a bank, grenades. I mean, literally that weekend that we're shooting, biggest action scene of the whole movie. And the assistant was being a very bad person with the crew. And I kept telling him throughout the film, please just chill. I'm the director. If I'm not being an asshole with people, why are you? Don't just chill. Don't worry about it. That day, that weekend that we're shooting our big action scene was the makeup girl comes up to me in tears. She was in tears. I go, what? What's the matter? Well, I just looked at the schedule for tomorrow because the AD he had prepared the schedule. And because I looked at it, he yelled in my face, he ripped it up and told me not to look at it till he gives me permission and started chewing me out. I go, oh my God. And I got so mad, Ross. I was already on a high, on heightened alert because of the stunts for the day. I went out, and this was a big guy. I went out to him. I said, you know what? Blah, 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 blah. Started chewing him out. He goes, don't talk to me that way. You're all walking. I'm taking my assistant with me. I said, I don't give a shit. Give me your walkie now. And so literally my two assistants that run the whole set, they quit on me that day. I took the walkie. I'm inside the bank calling action for a big shootout. Cut. I run outside. Okay, set up the bombs. Boom. The cops. I'm telling the cops to stop the traffic. I swear I was doing the job of 5 people that day. But I refused to let this guy abuse people.
I don't know why people have get like that ego thing where they just think their shit don't stand. Everyone, I treat everybody the same,
Well,
Even the little guy, I actually treat the little guy better sometimes because I know what they go through.
one of the things is that the assistant director is a reflection, is an extension of the director. He carries out the things that the director can't. The director has to focus. So that's why he's saying that the assistant director has to make everything else happen, make sure everybody's where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be, and so you can't act like that with people. They're not going to respect you. B, they're not going to respond, and then ultimately it's going to cause the director grief, and he's going to go, "What's going on?" Which is what happened there. So that's the thing. When you want an AD to help you, it's got to be somebody who's going to help you, not hurt you, and that's
Absolutely, absolutely, brother. And that's the thing.
Well, tell us about before because we're getting on time here. Tell us about your hula and what movie that is, so people can go because that's pretty cool to be the #1 movie, and hula is a big thing. So tell us a little bit about what's going on, so people can go watch it on hula.
And he also has a new trailer that just came out, which looked amazing. He shared that with me. We got to put that on here.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
I got to tell you, Ross, a lot of people at this point, a lot of you and my peers at this point in their career, they're kind of already reached the apex and start going down. Whereas I'm still reaching new heights. Comes back to this film called Ruthless. I wrote this film years ago. I'm talking about maybe 7, 8 years ago, and had it around for a little while, and then finally it got some steam, got picked up. I raised some money for it, and the producers, put in the rest of the money, and we hired an actor called Dermot Mulroney, brilliant actor, and wonderful human being. We became brothers through the experience. But that film was not supposed to happen. I mean, we had everything going against us. I mean, I can't even tell you how many things were going wrong, and the pressure from the producers. It was like almost micromanaging, but I still kept soldiering on, soldiering on. So we do this little nothing film it was almost like one of those things that was throwaway film for the producer. And lo and behold, it comes out, goes out on Amazon, did okay. Then the next thing you know, I start getting these calls because it's in the top 10 of Hulu. And I'm talking about Barbie still showing, Planet of the Apes is still showing. So then I started tracking it. I said just for the hell of it. So all of a sudden it's #9. The next 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. I said, great, I'm happy. It's in the top 10. I'm done. And then somebody made me a bet. They go, I bet it's going to go to #1. I go, nah, Jason, come on. I mean, I'm happy with #3. That's good enough for me. So it did hit #1 in April of this year, 24. Yeah, April. Yeah. And it stayed in the top 10 for like 3 weeks, which is good because it was a small film compared to these behemoths of these monster films. and then right after that, right now I'm working on another film called The Wrecker. That's the one with Tyrese and Harvey Keitel, Mina Suvari, Chad Michael Collins, Danny Trejo, some of the best cast I've worked with, and I'm doing some of the best work I've ever done in my life, in these past 30 years that I've been at this. It's some of the best work I've ever done in my life. And even as a writer, over the past 4 months, I've written, four, I'm going on 5 scripts, really strong scripts. So again, as a writer, whatever it is, whatever force is in me is propelling me. And I'm in a position where I got some wonderful scripts. I'm doing my best work as a director, and still dealing with the same issues I did years ago, here, always. But I'm really glad because my biggest thing right now in life is to stay relevant until I leave this planet.
Well,
And
you
that,
deserve all the success and and everything you're doing. It's just it's great. Especially like you said, you've worked so hard. It's nice to see that it's coming to full circle and you're getting your, heyday per se.
oh, thank you. And I tell you, and that's the thing. I'm really blessed to look back now that I'm doing my best work. Whereas a lot of people in my position, their best work is behind them, sadly, because of the people that I came up with in the industry. And I'm very blessed enough to still keep going forward, keep going forward and keep reaching new heights. With these actors, it's amazing. I was always a huge fan of Harvey Keitel. He's a brilliant actor, and then to work with him and
Amazing, amazing. And Danny Trejo, I
oh
mean,
my God,
that guy, that guy's unbelievable. Is he a nice guy, or is he like
we want
Sure,
to
well, hey, send them our way. Get them on our show so we can
Danny?
interview them about
Yeah,
you.
this guy. So Danny Trejo is he came from a very rough
yeah,
situation. I mean, in jail, and people were
yeah,
scared of him. And he's a like I saw the whole bio on him, and but I love everything he's in. I think he's really funny, and yet he's really skilled. I mean, he's been in the B films, he's been in the A films, and he's still super relevant right now. And but I was just
yeah.
wondering, is he a good guy or what? Is he tough to
He
work
is,
with?
he is one of the he was one of the sweetest persons I've ever worked with.
Nice,
Just a prime example, we're shooting at a cemetery, and the trailer was his driver was late to take him to the lunch, which is like a block away. And so I had my car. They say, "Hey, Daddy, come with me. Let's drive. I'll drive you. Let's go." He goes, "No, I could wait." I go, "No, no, fuck it. Come on, let's go." And so we get in the car, and somehow word got out that Danny Trejo was on the set. So down the street, and again, he's already 10 minutes late for his lunch. There's people on the streets taking pictures of him in my car. So then Danny says, "Stop the car." And I thought, "Oh, what's the matter?" He gets out of the car. He goes to every one of them so they can take their selfies with him, take pictures with him, autographs, and all this stuff. Takes another 10, 15, 20 minutes. Then he comes back. He goes, now let's go. He goes, those are the people that made me where I am. It's like, you know, that's how nice he is. He
That's
always
cool.
takes his time to, and he was so sweet to work with. And just God, I love him to death. I really do. Really do.
he seems amazing. And like sometimes when you're like a person who only gets to see them on the screen, you're always wondering, is he a good guy? The good people, the good, is he?
See,
Is he of
but
course.
I get the opposite. I get the opposite. Art's an asshole, man.
Right?
I'm telling you,
No, but to be sometimes to run a whole crew and all the responsibilities, you come off a little bit like an asshole or a bitch maybe, but you're
yeah,
not. You're just doing, what you need to do to get done, so you get that bad rap a little bit. But,
yeah.
usually people in the business who know the business know that.
Yeah, but you know what? And like I told you, I'm at a point in life where I don't care. I remember when I first started doing the sunglass thing, and that was because I told you by an accident that I started wearing them, and I got used to it. And then the leather jacket thing, I don't know how many, I think I had 12, 15 different styles, and I find one with American flag, the British flag, a trench coat with the vest. And I just recently sported an Indian suede one, and someone's actually going to make me one in Arizona with
Oh,
Apache.
that'll be cool.
I love it.
That's kind of your signature look. I mean, you got to have your signature,
Yeah,
You
but
know,
you
I
know
got my signature look a little
Well, his
bit.
signature look is his amazing hair. He actually numbers.
Yeah.
it isn't easy being Art Camacho. I got to
Well,
tell
you
you.
look so young considering like all the years you've been doing stuff, you know? I mean,
Thank
you would never, you know, a man your age, not that you're old, but does not look as good as you. So in a
No.
way, it's like reverse. You know, you started out being the ugly duckling and now, you know, you're in your prime. Why all these other people are just kind of doing nothing and you're actually hitting full steam ahead. And
No,
Art,
thank you.
Art used to joke about his hair when we were on the set, and he'd be like, something be going on with it. He goes, Ross, how's my hair look? It's good. It's good.
Make sure, man. Somebody's taking pictures, man. I got to make sure.
That's
But I do, you kid you not, I have to look at different angles. I have one of those mirrors that folds up. So I have to make sure that enough is pulled out from here so it doesn't create a crease in between, sideways, profile, up, down.
Hey,
I need help, Ross.
hey,
I need help.
listen, brother.
right.
Next year I turn 60 years old,
You're a baby.
and I think I'm doing okay. But the thing is that I've started to become vain. I started like, all right, I got to make sure this stays with me as much as I can, and like I
That's a
said,
good thing.
glasses, I wear their contacts all the time, and I'm
Yeah,
very
yeah,
vain.
wear contacts. Either go with sunglasses or wear contacts because you have good eyes.
Good with
I'm gonna get
glasses
the
on
tinted
too. I
glass.
mean, those glasses look good on you.
I'm gonna get the tinted. I'm gonna get the like a little bit more narrow, that Tony Stark
Yeah,
style. I'm gonna get that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tony
do it, buddy. I'm
Stark.
telling you, man. Just do it. Just you know what? At first, and I still get this. It's so funny. Because somebody just shared with me recently that sometimes people would walk on the set, they see this director with the glass on the jacket. It's like, who the hell does he think he is? You know, I don't care. That's what I'm saying. I don't care. I really don't care. People could laugh at me, joke me behind my back. I don't care. I'm Art Camacho, you know?
Right? I mean, who the hell are they? You're successful. You've done so much. I mean, really. And I kind of think, you know, it's good to, you know, there's not another Art Camacho. Why would you want there to be? You know what I mean?
There's nothing I
So,
lay claim to. Nothing
but
I
the
lay
big, but the biggest, hardest thing in life is not to give a shit, you know, about
Yeah,
what people, you know, that's the hardest thing is to realize just be you. And some people just aren't going to like you for no damn reason at all.
Yeah. You know what?
yeah.
And
What's really amazing? What's really amazing? All I'm gonna say is because I know Art, he's introduced me to people. Because I know Alan, he introduced me to people. Michael DiPasquale introduced me to people. All kinds of people that I never thought. When I was growing up, I was just like, oh, how cool would it be to with Art? I'm not gonna lie. When I got to meet Art, this is somebody I wanted to know. I want to know him. And never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that he'd become my friend. You know, and Art will hang out with me. We'll go places, we'll hang out, right? I'm like, I sit there feeling very blessed, going, how did
oh,
this happen? How did this
brother.
happen? My life turned out that I've got this great person in my life who's a fantastic friend, who is Art Camacho. It just blows my mind. I sit there, him and James Lou and Cynthia, and they, hey Rob, I'm like, like you said, I'm nobody.
Well, and that's why the Action Martial Arts Magazine event is the best in the world because, I mean, if you really think about it, that's like a yearly event where people make connections, new connections, old connections, talk business, talk about productions, talk ideas. And it's just such a great event, you know. I mean, Alan Goldberg, you know.
Goldberg and then Michael, my God, I cried when I got the news. I swear to you. You know the sad, I don't know if it's sad or what, but um when my mother died, I felt nothing, sadly. When my father died, I was very sad, but I never cried for anyone except Michael DiPasquale. I was in tears. It was,
Yeah, it was a shock to me too.
yeah,
Um, it was amazing. I'm not going to go into the whole story right this second, but my friend Robert Scott, who trained with Michael,
right.
and he and I both trained with Michael, and and Robert is very very close with him, and he calls me up and he says, yo, Shion, he goes, I gotta tell you something, and I just said, don't you say it, don't you say it, and he said, yeah, man, he goes, he's okay, he's dead, and I couldn't deal. I was like, oh my God, I really kind of went off the grid about it for a while. Um, he was an amazing guy, and I got to meet amazing people, and he took me along the ride for all that. Again, I got to go to Action Martial Arts Magazine, and here's Michael introducing me to you and to everybody, and I'm just sitting there going, this can't be real. I mean, this just can't be real. But he did that, you know, he made that happen. And he ultimately my teacher, and oh my
Yeah.
God, it just yeah, that was a loss, and way, way, way too soon. It wasn't right. It wasn't right.
He was, and then again, apart from the love I felt for him, I mean, he was a badass martial artist.
Oh
I
yeah. Oh my God.
toughest man I've ever known in my life.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Right to the end. Right to the end. He was incredible. Just amazing. But again,
You
he was in that group of people like yourself who are in a category of their own
know,
that you can't. I'm sorry. It's true. It's true. It's a it's a level. It's a you know how they talk about the Rat Pack back in the day, right?
right, right.
And like these guys, you know what I mean? All of these actors that were part of that group.
Right, right.
Well, you and Michael DePasquale and Cynthia Rothrock and like everybody in that category, everybody in that group, you're just I just say these are legendary
Oh,
martial
thank
artists. It's just it's unbelievable. Everybody knows who you are,
thank
and we all love what you do. And if it wasn't for what you do in the movies and for the martial arts, the relevance of martial arts would start to die off. It's sad because people don't respect it. They don't do it the way they should, the way they used to. The
yeah.
tradition is fading. Everybody's into MMA and stuff. And I'm not saying anything bad about MMA, but I'm just saying that a
No,
respect for these.
but you know what, Ross? Here's the thing. And again, I think it was I don't know if it was Benny or someone else told me this, so I'm not laying claim to this. But in MMA and in other sports, you have a coach. In martial arts, you have a sensei or a sifu. That's the difference.
Yeah. There
Yeah.
it is a big difference between a coach and it's a different respect a little bit too,
Yeah.
you know.
To me, my Sifu is my Sifu. He's my father. He's my mentor. He's family. My coach is my trainer, and he's the one that's with me. He's my partner. But my Sifu, my sensei, and that's a whole different relationship. And again, like I told you today, I started training actually with Samuel Kwok a few years back, and it's just opened a whole amazing world for me. And today I had lunch with him and Eric Lee, and it was amazing. Those are my two seafoods right there. So much respect and always whatever I can do for them. I'm like, whatever. And that's what I'm saying. That's what you got through martial arts, and the martial arts changed my whole life. And just like you said, Ross, I mean, I started working with some of my idols that I used to idolize, and the last thing I'll say about this is that. I end up meeting, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Jesus Christ Superstar, whether it's the musical, the movie.
Of course.
The, yeah, well, the actor who played it, he started doing these revivals where he would basically do the musical, touring with the musical, the actual Ted Neely, the one who played the original in the 70s.
Oh my
And
God.
I ended up meeting him on a few occasions. And we started talking. I mean, the first time we met, we talked for like, 45 minutes, just one on one. It was a beautiful, beautiful experience telling him about my stuff. And he shared to me two things. One, I'll share this with you because it was very powerful for me because again, I'm spiritual. I'm not religious. I'm very spiritual. But I told him about that scene where there's the scene in the Bible where Jesus is crying out to God, saying in the Garden of Gethsemane, he's saying, God, why me? Why are you doing this to me? What am I, why am I going to die? And when Ted explained that scene to me, because it's a very emotional scene, he explained to me, he says, Art, the magic of that scene to me was that I am not Jesus speaking to God. I am a son speaking to his father, crying because why, Father? Why am I going to die? Why, God? What, Father? What did I do? Why am I going to be crucified? Oh my God! Even when I retell it, I feel so heartful because imagine you having a conversation with your own dad. And the last thing he said to me now, and I stole that from him, is I had a brochure and he signed it for me and he says, blah, 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 wonderful meeting you are. And he says, keep living the dream. And that's my motto in life, live the dream, no matter what your
You
dream
have
is.
always said that every time I see you. That's the
Yeah.
truth. That's the truth. That is his tagline right
Yeah.
there.
And I
That
took and
I
that
love that. Because without dreams and hopes, what do you got?
yeah, yeah, you got nothing. You got nothing. I mean, I'm telling you, I've had friends of mine who have these mansions. I'm talking about mansions, 40 square foot mansions, and yet they're so miserable in life, you know, because they don't have the dreams and the hope. They have their dreams or whatever, not even the dreams, their aspirations were tied to the physical things around them. To me, that's what filmmaking is. To me, is the spirituality. I am a better human being a director, a writer, a creator. You know, that's the way I see it. It's a life, and martial arts is the core. The martial arts is my foundation that I built everything on. Everything stems from my martial arts. That's 1000%. Without the martial arts, I have no foundation.
there's very
On
few
that note,
people. There's
we got to
very
get Ross to do his signature question.
Yep. There's very few people who really understand living the warrior way. And like when you're around people and they don't get it, the commitment, all that commitment that Art has talked about today stems from that warrior lifestyle. And that, you're committed to this thing that nobody can understand. They don't get it. And only some of us who are on the inside of that joke, you'd be like, they're not going to get it. Unless you're doing this, you're just not going to understand. But I do have my signature question that I'm going to ask you. Here it is. Can you share with us something about Art Camacho that the world may not know about Art Camacho?
I think I did in the beginning. I think I am very insecure about everything, about my skill level, about my looks, about my weight. I every day is a struggle. And and when you see me on set, when you see me out there, I'm very confident and all that. But it takes a lot of energy to be on. Even and that's what I was telling you before when somebody came up to me when I started sharing about these failures with relationships and all this stuff, they were like shocked. Shocked. They go, "Come on, you?" I mean, I don't see myself as good looking. Some women do. They think you're this fat little yeah. Me.
That's how I felt. Like I just cannot, I know your story, but it's hard to really, because you've come so far. But I think we all go through a period like that where we just don't feel even the pretty people, like you said, the pretty people are now looking at you going, what the hell, man? Look at Art Camacho.
But it's not a period. It's an every day of my life. Somebody asked me, "What's going to make you happy?" And and it's an easy answer, but it really isn't because I don't know that I'll ever be happy. I just know that I have to be fulfilled. I have to do this thing that I'm doing. Is that happiness? I don't know. That's weird, huh? I need help. Help me, Ross.
Right? We all need help.
I would do anything for you, Art. So just ask and I'll be there. Just
I think it's great. I mean, I just, you're just getting, it's more and more and more, it's just so cool, because like you said, people, they kind of fizzle out and here you're not just, you're rocketing now, you know what I mean? So
because like you said, I have no choice. I literally burn every bridge behind me. I can't turn back. And if I was happy, I wouldn't train every day. If I was happy, I think I would just be content and say, okay, great. You know what? Try to, whatever. Not do any more films. I'm happy, get a regular job, but I'm not. I'm not happy, and I don't aspire for happiness. I aspire for fulfillment because I think whatever your belief is, I believe there is a God that put this passion in my heart and this drive to create the skill set to fulfill that passion, you know?
I
And
know
that's
Art. I know Art's a lot like me in the sense that I'm willing to bet you agree that one of the things we have in common is when someone says to you, yeah, I don't think that you're gonna be able to do that, like your father did to you. And when people say I can't do something, I go, oh really? Let me watch. I'll show you. I'm gonna do it in spite of you.
Every day of my life, Ross. Every day of my life. I do.
Right?
Every day of my life. I'm telling you, man. That's why I told you I'm not the first choice, but I'm always the best choice.
There you go. See, I love that. I love that. I love
And
that.
keep that in mind, Ross. You probably won't be the first on everybody's list, but you'll be the best one. Yeah,
I feel very blessed. I feel very blessed having you as my friend. I feel blessed that you've been on our show tonight. Um, I could say a million things. You are just a gem.
Right?
you guys look
Check out Hula and all the good things, you know.
Hulu.
ruthless son.
Hula, Hulu, whatever, you know. What's the newest movie coming out? Or something coming out sooner than?
Could be coming out. I'm hoping by December. It's called
Okay.
The Record. That's the one with Harvey Keitel and Danny Trejo.
Yeah, that'll be cool. So we'll have to.
The record.
I'll share with you. Harvey Keitel. You know who he is, right?
Yeah, of
Ross?
course.
Yeah.
I have a video of him. The last day of the set, he was just raving about this movie. I mean, he said this is the most professional crew he's ever worked with. I'll share it with you. It's really
Yeah, share it with us. We'll put it on and give a shout out to him.
KJ, Harvey Keitel is the guy who played the devil in Little Nicky.
You know, I know who you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's just one of the
He's
parts.
done a bunch of stuff,
He was
actually.
hilarious. Is that it was great. But he's been in Pulp Fiction. He's been in everything.
Some of the best directors in Hollywood. Amazing guy, and he was just praising me because I had lunch with him before the shoot, and he told me, Art, I've never done this. I've never met with a director prior to a movie, and I was just my thing when I meet with actors like that. I just want them to know Art Camacho. I don't talk about the movie. I talk about me, about my life. We share. I want to know about their life. So I want to know them as human beings. So when we work together, we have an understanding already.
Well, that's actually really
Harvey
good.
Keitel. Harvey Keitel. He was in Pulp Fiction. He was Mr. Wolf, the fixer.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just did a huge martial arts event with Soke Thomas Getling. We have this World War Alliance thing that we do, and stuff was going on at the hotel and things were getting. And I said, don't worry, I got this. And I went and I made things happen. And I just go, you could call me Mr. Wolf. I'm the fixer.
I love it.
Right? Oh, and congratulations! You know, because everything's just. I'm super excited just for everything. So, and we're gonna do a little bit of you on the magazine. So
Thank you.
that'll be cool.
The thing I want to share with you guys is that you're never too old to start something fresh. You're never too old. And again, I had maybe it's a midlife crisis about 2 years ago, and I started getting to tattoos. Believe it or not, tattoos. I'm afraid of needles. I hate needles, but I started getting into tattoos, and in 1 year, I think I put on 6 tattoos.
Wow.
It was crazy, and I'm going to share them with you real quick. I mean,
Let's see your tattoos.
Not all of them. You can't see all.
Look at that, Art Camacho seat.
I got mine right there.
Oh man, there you go. See?
Oh, wow, I
I've
have
never
no.
been
My
there.
body is untouched.
That's my kung fu right here.
There you go.
This to me represents where I'm at because this is like a fist with boxing wraps holding a crucifix.
Cool. That looks cool.
Yes.
This is Saint Michael.
Wow.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. Now right here, my other system, Wing Chun.
Yeah.
This is an homage to Bruce Lee from Enter the Dragon. I took the picture.
Yeah, the cuts. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is a friend that I'll tell you later on, but he's one of the most iconic wrestlers in all of Latin America.
Oh yes.
Wait, yeah, that's what's that guy's name?
His name's El Santo.
That's it.
Yeah.
We became like family. As a matter of fact, they invited me. I'm to go down there to see his final matches because he's retiring. But it was one of those things, Ross, where he's an idol from afar. We met, we talked. His wife was a manager, and we were going to meet at a restaurant, but we got along so well that our first meeting was at his house. Come to the house. They don't know me from Adam.
See, that's what I'm talking about. And you have to say to yourself, how on earth it's almost, it feels like surreal. You're like, what? You know,
Yeah,
that's how I felt when I met you.
yeah, I'm telling you, brother. Well, we're doing it.
What's happening?
Stay on after the interview. I want to talk to you. I want to.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Real excited, man. Real,
Well,
keeping our faith in. To me, martial arts, my faith, and just the perseverance. Never give up. And martial arts is the foundation of everything I do in life. Period. So.
and on that note, Ross, why don't you sign us off? And
Well, it's been another great interview with Art Camacho, martial artist and director extraordinaire. He's a great man, a gentleman, and a legend in the martial arts. We're so glad you've been on the show tonight. Thank you very much. We love you.
Thank you. Love you guys. Love
until
you.
next time.